You have been told that hard work brings wealth, that discipline and goodness guarantee success, that patience and honesty are the foundation of prosperity. But look around you. Does the world truly reward those virtues, or does it reward something else entirely? Strategy, perception, and control. You see people who work less than you, yet own more. People who lie, manipulate, and flatter, and rise. You stay silent, decent, moral, and invisible. You wait for justice that never comes. You hope that effort will one day be noticed, but in Machiavelli's world, and in the real world, hope is not a strategy. Wealth, like power, is not earned through fairness. It is seized through advantage. It flows toward those who understand human weakness and are willing to use it. It is drawn not to virtue, but to vision plus volition plus timing. And those who keep waiting for the right moment forget that every moment belongs to someone who dared to take it. Machiavelli did not live in a world of fairness. He lived among princes, traitors, and merchants who could smile while poisoning a rival. He saw that men who hesitated were devoured by those who acted. He learned that wealth and morality rarely share the same table. And he wrote The Prince to expose a truth you still resist, that behind every fortune lies strategy, not sincerity. You were taught to believe that being liked is enough, but in the game of wealth, being liked is the most expensive weakness. It costs you opportunities, negotiations, and leverage. People will drain your time because you cannot say no. They will exploit your empathy because you need approval. You mistake moral satisfaction for progress, and the result, you end each month exhausted, but still trapped. Machiavelli would call that a failure of perception. You are fighting the wrong war. You try to win in the moral arena while your rivals play in the strategic one. You think your honesty buys loyalty. It buys predictability, and predictable people are the easiest to control. He wrote that the successful man must learn how not to be good. That does not mean cruelty. It means realism. It means understanding that good intentions alone do not protect you from predators. In fact, they make you visible to them. Every manipulator can sense the moral man and prepares the perfect story to deceive him. Look at the rich and powerful. They never move randomly. They calculate perception. They control their silence as much as their words. They appear generous when generosity strengthens loyalty, and ruthless when mercy would invite rebellion. To them, morality is a tool of strategy, not a cage, and because of that, they never feel guilty for taking what the timid refuse. You want to know why you stay broke, because you confuse kindness with weakness, because you mistake humility for strategy, because you fear being feared. But Machiavelli would tell you to be feared, even slightly, is safer than to be loved. Fear commands respect. Love invites expectations, and expectations are debts you can never repay. In business, politics, and even friendship, every interaction is an exchange of power. The rich know this instinctively. They give smiles, but rarely information. They listen more than they reveal. They calculate every gesture to reinforce authority. Meanwhile, you speak to please. You reveal too much, too early. And in doing so, you surrender the only currency that truly matters: mystery. Machiavelli believed that survival depends on illusion. Appear virtuous, but act strategically. Speak of justice, but move toward advantage. Let others believe you are predictable, and then strike when they assume you are safe. This is not deceit, it is defense. The lion that shows its teeth does not always intend to bite, but it is never attacked first. To create wealth, you must think like a ruler, not a servant. The servant works for money. The ruler moves money. He uses it to buy influence, control perception, and expand reach. He never chases wealth. He attracts it through power, because power, in any form, is the magnet that pulls opportunity. Machiavelli observed that fortune favors the bold, but boldness is not noise, it is precision. It is knowing when to act and when to wait, when to reveal and when to vanish. It is not about risking everything, it is about risking at the right moment. Those who win are not the loudest, they are the coldest in calculation. You work tirelessly, yet remain poor, because you have been trained to avoid discomfort. You chase safety, and safety never leads to wealth. The powerful embrace discomfort because it is the only state where transformation occurs. Every great fortune was built on discomfort mastered, not comfort maintained. The rich study leverage, not luck. They study people, not approval. They master the art of appearing effortless while executing strategies decades in advance. Machiavelli would advise you to study men, not miracles. To watch how the ambitious behave when they think no one sees them, to analyze gestures, silences, and timing, because words rarely reveal intention. He would tell you to protect your reputation as you would your life, not because it defines your morality, but because perception determines access. If people believe you are strong, they open doors. If they sense need, they close them. To escape financial mediocrity, you must abandon the illusion of fairness. You must stop waiting for permission to rise. Power and wealth move toward those who understand human desire and dare to orchestrate it. Every contract, every job, every alliance is a silent negotiation of dominance. If you don't claim control, someone else will. And when they do, they will convince you that your obedience was virtue. That is the brilliance of manipulation. It makes slavery look like morality. Machiavelli's genius was to reveal that morality and success are rarely allies. He observed that in a world driven by ambition, the moral man must disguise his strength in virtue. He must appear ethical, even as he calculates every move like a general. The appearance of goodness disarms rivals, but only when controlled deliberately. When authentic and uncontrolled, it becomes your greatest weakness. So what does this mean for you? It means that if you want to rise, to build wealth, power, and influence, you must learn the art of perception. You must control what others see and never expose what you are truly planning. You must act like a prince in a world of pawns, courteous, calm, but utterly strategic. Because in a world of wolves, the lamb who pretends to be a lion survives longer than the lion who pretends to be a lamb. The path to power begins when you stop trying to be liked, because approval is a leash, and those who hold it lead you wherever they wish. You were not born to serve applause. You were born to command attention through purpose, precision, and patience. You must replace your addiction to validation with a hunger for influence. Influence is not noise, it is quiet control. And yet there is a paradox. To play this game, you must appear human, relatable, even vulnerable, but never truly be. Reveal enough emotion to inspire trust, but never enough to be manipulated. Machiavelli's world, our world, is ruled by perception. Those who understand this rule, nations, companies, and hearts. Those who reject it, write complaints, not history. You will begin to rise the moment you stop apologizing for wanting power. Power is not evil. It is neutral. It is the amplifier of your intention. If you are weak, it corrupts you. If you are wise, it liberates you. To deny your desire for control is to give it to someone less deserving. And while you wrestle with guilt, others are using your hesitation to dominate the board. In the next block, we will go deeper into the psychology of power, how Machiavelli's insights on manipulation, timing, and human nature can be applied to modern wealth creation. You will see how every social interaction, from negotiation to romance, follows the same invisible laws that separate rulers from followers, winners from dreamers. Machiavelli believed that all men act according to interest, not virtue, not morality, interest. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you begin to win. Those who control interests control people. Those who ignore them become their instruments. Every relationship, business or personal, operates under this law. And yet most people remain blind to it. They think loyalty exists outside of advantage. But loyalty without benefit is a fantasy. When the advantage shifts, so does the loyalty. That is not cruelty. That is the nature of man. You were taught to trust intentions. Machiavelli would tell you, trust incentives instead. You want to know why others seem to prosper faster, even when they appear less capable. Because they understand motives. They read what drives others before acting. They don't assume people are good. They assume people are predictable. Predictable in their desire for gain, comfort, power, or admiration. Once you understand this, the world becomes transparent. Every yes and no hides a motive. Every compliment conceals an agenda. Every favor seeks repayment. To succeed, you must begin thinking in terms of leverage, not fairness. Leverage is the invisible currency of the powerful. It can be information, timing, emotion, or silence. A man who speaks little but listens well acquires leverage through knowledge. A man who observes before reacting acquires leverage through restraint. A man who masters perception acquires leverage through myth. The masses trade hours. The rulers trade influence. Machiavelli would tell you, the path to wealth is not paved with labor, but with understanding. Understand the forces that move others, and you will move their actions. You can outwork a fool for years, and he will still beat you if he can control perception, because perception commands opportunity, and opportunity creates capital. In The Prince, Machiavelli advised that a ruler should appear compassionate, faithful, humane, honest, and religious, but be capable of acting contrary to all of them when necessary. Translated to modern language, you must master duality. Be what they expect to see, and remain what you truly are beneath it. The poor man lives in honesty without power. The wise man appears honest, but never naive. He uses morality as armor, not as chains. He speaks of cooperation while planning independence. He smiles while measuring alliances. He gives favors not from kindness, but from calculus, because every favor plants a future debt. You see, Machiavelli never glorified evil. He glorified clarity. He simply stripped illusions from human behavior and showed the anatomy of ambition. And what he revealed is this: wealth is not random. It flows along the same psychological pathways as power. The people who rise are those who understand that emotion is the greatest currency in existence, and that those who can direct it can direct anything. Ask yourself, who profits from your emotions? When you envy, someone profits. When you rage, someone manipulates. When you pity, someone gains control. And when you seek approval, someone defines your worth. The art of wealth is the art of emotional control. Yours first, then others. You cannot be rich if you are emotionally reactive. You cannot command if you are easily provoked. Every impulsive word costs opportunity. Every outburst burns a bridge that patience could have turned into gold. Machiavelli would tell you, master silence, and the world will speak for you. Silence is not emptiness, it is design. The powerful use silence to make others uncomfortable, to force them to reveal themselves. Most people talk to fill space. The powerful let space talk for them. The pause between words creates anticipation. The lack of explanation creates intrigue. And intrigue, in human psychology, is irresistible. It turns observers into followers. You can feel it when someone doesn't chase, when they speak with calm authority, when they seem to know something you don't. That's what Machiavelli meant by control. Not shouting, but commanding through tension. The moment you stop needing validation, your words start carrying weight, because they're no longer driven by desperation, but by choice. Machiavelli's insight on wealth applies perfectly to modern life. Those who control narrative control value. Money follows stories, not labor. The richest men today don't sell products, they sell perception. They shape reality through design, confidence, and scarcity. They understand that attention is the modern battlefield, and power belongs to those who dictate what others desire. And yet, most people still chase approval. They work for applause, while their masters quietly shape the applause itself. They confuse visibility with influence, but the most influential are rarely visible. They operate from shadows, adjusting outcomes while others perform for praise. The powerful know when to appear and when to vanish. Visibility is used strategically to inspire fear, hope, or awe, never out of insecurity. Machiavelli understood this long before social media. He observed that people are moved more by appearances than by reality. That's why every leader, every empire, every dynasty builds ritual and spectacle. To control attention is to control interpretation. And once you control interpretation, you no longer need to defend truth, you define it. If you want wealth, study how people assign value. It is never rational, it is psychological. Gold is valuable because men agree it is. Fame is power because minds synchronize their attention to it. Money is a collective hallucination maintained by shared belief. The Machiavellian learns to influence that belief. He understands that persuasion is more profitable than production. To rise financially, you must evolve beyond the mindset of laborer to that of architect. Laborers execute, architects design. You cannot design if you are always reacting. You cannot lead if you are always explaining. You cannot win if you are always defending your goodness instead of demonstrating your strength. Machiavelli would tell you, generosity without purpose weakens power. Give, but only to build alliances. Forgive, but only to protect your reputation. Trust, but only when you hold collateral. Morality has no value in the absence of control. Your empathy must serve your strategy, not replace it. If this sounds harsh, it is because truth is rarely gentle. The powerful are not cruel for pleasure. They are cold for necessity. They know that excess compassion invites exploitation. That excessive transparency creates vulnerability. That in human nature, mercy without discipline breeds betrayal. Control, then, becomes an act of survival. Think of your life. How many times have you said yes when you meant no? How many times have you apologized for existing, for having ambition, for wanting more? How many times have you allowed guilt to silence you? Each time you sold a fragment of your power in exchange for comfort. And every time you chose comfort over confrontation, someone stronger advanced. Machiavelli would tell you, comfort is the enemy of conquest. You cannot rise while seeking to remain liked. You cannot command if you fear disapproval. You cannot earn respect if you treat everyone as equal when they are not. Hierarchy is not evil, it is natural. The strong lead, the weak follow, the wise adapt. The difference lies not in talent, but in willingness to see reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. You must accept the cold fact, not everyone deserves your kindness. Reserve it for those who understand value. Withdraw it from those who consume without contribution. This is not cruelty, it is balance. Even nature operates by this law, pruning what does not grow. You want to attract wealth, begin pruning. Cut waste, cut noise. Cut emotional parasites. Reclaim your time, because time is the foundation of all power. The rich don't have more hours. They have fewer distractions. They protect focus like a fortress. And when emotion invades reason, they retreat to strategy. The fool reacts to everything. The Machiavellian responds to nothing that doesn't serve the mission. Every moment you spend defending your intentions, you lose the energy to execute your vision. Every argument you enter without purpose is a tax on your influence. Every apology you offer for being ambitious erodes your authority. Machiavelli's way is simple. Apologize only when it strengthens your position. Silence, distance, and control accomplish more than guilt ever could. You may think this philosophy is cold. It is not. It is disciplined warmth. Warmth that burns only where it should. It doesn't seek to destroy, it seeks to endure. Because wealth and power belong not to the cruel, but to the consistent. Not to those who scream for recognition, but to those who quietly build inevitability. When Machiavelli wrote for princes, he wasn't teaching them to be tyrants, he was teaching them to survive. He knew that leadership in any form attracts envy, betrayal, and attack. To thrive under those conditions, one must become unshakable. And in modern terms, that means emotional sovereignty, the ability to move strategically regardless of chaos. The powerful do not seek peace because they are fragile. They seek peace because they are capable of war. They do not crave wealth to feel superior. They use it as armor against dependence. Their calm is not kindness, it is control. Their silence is not fear, it is precision. Their apparent detachment is not arrogance, it is focus. Every move they make has purpose. Every word they speak creates positioning. And that, ultimately, is the art of power, deliberate existence. If you truly want to stop being broke, financially, mentally, emotionally, you must stop playing the game unconsciously. You must learn to act, not react. You must learn to observe without explaining. You must learn to use perception instead of being used by it. That is the Machiavellian path. Clarity disguised as mystery, strategy disguised as instinct. So from this moment forward, stop trying to be liked. Stop defending your goodness. Start building your control. Be courteous but calculating. Be silent but aware. Be kind but never available to everyone. Value yourself as a limited resource because that is what the world pays most for, scarcity. And when you rise, when the same people who ignored you now seek your approval, remember this: they didn't change. You did. You stopped asking for permission to exist. You stopped apologizing for ambition. You stopped mistaking comfort for success. You stopped trying to be understood and started making yourself undeniable. In the end, Machiavelli's greatest lesson was not manipulation, it was mastery. Mastery of perception, of timing, of self. Because those who master themselves cannot be ruled, and those who cannot be ruled eventually rule everything else. So, remember this truth. The world does not reward the moral. It rewards the strategic. It does not pay the kind. It pays the capable. It does not admire the loud. It admires the unshakable. Be one of the few who see the game clearly. Be one of the rare who act deliberately. Be one of the strong who do not explain. And you will find that wealth, in every form, has always been waiting for those who dare to claim it without apology. Now tell me, are you ready to stop being liked and start being respected? Write your answer in the comments, and remember, power begins the moment you decide to stop playing small. Subscribe, stay alert, and master the art of control.